What else do we see here?
A goat again.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, goats were probably cheaper, I
Yeah.
guess, than sheep. Probably a little bit less expensive. And Judah is willing to give up all his stuff that identifies him so he won't become a laughingstock. His pride is more important to him than everything else.
Well, why did he, I mean, I know why he gave it up, but would he have another one, of those to use?
He may have, but still she has this proof
Yeah,
that it's
right.
him.
He's obviously not thinking with his head.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I'm
in
not going to say that.
the
here.
moment of,
Because we're being recorded.
Yes, we are.
I'm sure he gave her anything at that moment.
Mhm.
What can I say?
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, he
Well,
paid the price.
Right,
He
exactly.
paid the price.
Right.
I like, whatchamacallit.
She was good.
Giving
She
up
knew
his
how,
birthright
she
and
knew
everything.
how to manipulate him.
Yep.
So, as a father-in-law, she knew him well.
Mm-hmm. And look at verse 24.
3 months later.
Mm-hmm. She's pregnant, which of course is against the law. You're not supposed to sleep with your daughter-in-law.
Mm.
So he just keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
I like
At
it.
this
Bring
point,
her.
though, he doesn't
He doesn't-
realize it's his daughter.
Right.
He doesn't
must-
realize he's the one that.
Right.
Yeah.
Says bring her out and burn her to
Burn her.
death.
So he just
But
wants
just the
to...
fact that she was pregnant and she wasn't married and.
Right, because that would have made her an adulteress,
Mhm.
and then, by law, he could kill her.
And then be rid of her,
Usually-
not worry about her.
Usually by stoning, though, so I'm not
Instead of
sure where this
burning.
burning comes from.
In the King James, verse 24,
Says later.
she is with child by whoredom.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's
It
just
says here,
prostitution
in later
mind.
times, burning was the legal penalty for prostitution.
Oh,
In later times, it says.
but... Oh, okay. Is guilty of prostitution, so they think she did sell herself to somebody. Okay.
They just
Okay.
don't know who.
Okay, so that's why burning. Thank you. Thanks, Jeanette.
A capital crime. Ordered her to be burned.
Yep, penalty.
They didn't burn the man, they just burned the woman.
Yep,
Not the way.
Typical,
Imagine.
typical.
yep.
We won't go down that road,
Nope.
because that's a whole new thing for me to talk about.
And then our heroine comes up with her plot.
See if you
How did
recognize
she
these.
keep all that hidden so nobody in the
Yeah.
camp would know?
Probably,
I
She
was
went back to
wondering.
her
probably in
father's
her back
house.
pocket.
I was thinking that staff would be too big to hide, but
Yeah.
maybe I've got the wrong idea of what a staff
Buried under a
is.
saddle.
Yeah, yeah. But she was good. As she's being brought out, she sent a message to her father-in-law. I am pregnant by the man who owns these. See if you recognize whose seal and cord and staff.
He's caught again.
And he's saying, gee, those look familiar.
Did he turn red?
Yep. What?
That would have been a good moment.
But in 26, he finally has some redemption. She is more righteous than I, since I wouldn't give her to my son Sheila. And he did not sleep with, and well, thank goodness,
Yeah.
Judah did not sleep with Tamar again. Because if he would have, then he would have been breaking the law of sleeping with his daughter-in-law, because then he knew. All right, and then what happens?
She has twins.
She has twins, and what happened?
It was kind of
Okay.
like the,
Who comes out first?
Like Esau. right?
Jacob and Esau.
Just
The only thing, he's not a red fuzzy baby. So,
But did he get a crimson thread?
yeah, yep.
Well, the way this reads, she must have been miserable.
Yeah.
That's all I'm thinking.
now it says
Oh.
down here in the notes, it says Jesse, the father of David, was a descendant of Perez, one of the twin sons of Judah and Tamar.
Mm-hmm.
Only the grace of God could make a Canaanite woman like Tamar and a prodigal man like Judah members of his royal line of ancestors to the Messiah.
Yep,
Wow.
yep.
So all this horrible stuff happened as a God thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it just proves God's sovereignty over
Over
And over
again.
and over.
again.
Yep.
Take something that was broken and made it right.
So who was born first?
Well, it's, a hand was
He was
born
named
first.
Perez, and then his
Just a
brother
hand.
with the scarlet was
The
born.
hand drew back.
Yes.
With that had the thread on it.
Yep.
God knew which baby needed to be born first.
Yep.
Good grief.
And Perez means breaking out.
Right. Broke out.
I'm out of here. Just like his
More
dad,
Hispanic.
Judah.
Perez was a Hispanic.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Well, and there's different translations of that too. The way
Okay.
it's spelled. But yeah, Perez, that's what I thought first, but
Oh, wow, now we're going back to Joseph.
Yeah,
now we see Joseph again.
after the
And-
commercial.
Yep.
Yeah, but that was an important commercial because that's setting up the line down to David, so. Very important.
Tamar had the distinction of being one of the few women whose name was listed in the official genealogy of Jesus and Matthew.
Yep.
Rahab, Ruth, and Bathsheba.
Wow.
Is it Bathsheba or is it Uriah's wife?
Wife of Uriah, that is Bathsheba.
Yeah, but when it lists it,
You're probably right.
So
All the women were
Joseph,
non-Jewish.
now Joseph had been taken, okay, so how old was he by the time he had gotten to, it doesn't say, but because she wanted him, he was probably young,
Well, he is young.
because I
Let's
can't,
see.
and he liked his money, so I'm sure he was overly, wait,
Well, we'll get there.
okay.
Okay, so what do we see in the first part of chapter 39?
Well, the Lord was with Joseph, and he became successful. even though-
All over the place.
Everything he did.
Yeah,
He couldn't do
All
any
over
wrong.
the place.
The Midas touch.
Well, because of God.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord was with Joseph. The Lord was with him. The Lord gave him success. The Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessing of the Lord. That's only in verses 2 through 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 blessings were told.
but it doesn't say that Joseph prayed to God.
No, no.
That's the kicker.
The Lord was with him though.
But
Okay.
it
No
gets,
matter what.
I have 4 reasons in here why he was so blessed by God, if you want
okay.
to hear them.
Yeah.
Joseph's industry and stewardship of his abilities, his devotion to his master and to God, God's active presence, and God's sovereign help in Joseph's life and work are the 4 reasons why God gave him the prosperity and success he did.
This is
Although it
devoted
doesn't
to God.
It's so it doesn't, the things that he did doesn't seem to show a devotion to
No.
God.
No.
but-
Just he was part of God's plan.
I mean, he
Yeah,
didn't build
that's-
an altar, he didn't
No.
do anything.
He was just part of God's plan.
Okay.
But when the temptation was set in front of him to have sex with his
Potiphar's
boss's wife, he refused.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yes.
is, obviously no one else in here has refused to have sex when it was thrown in front of them.
True.
Then again, he wore a coat of feminine, I'm just saying.
It wasn't,
I
but he
think that's
eventually did get
far-fetched
married and
there.
have an Egyptian woman and have
I
children.
don't think
Oh,
so.
he
That
does,
one.
okay.
No.
Well,
I had always thought that those guys that were able to be close to the women were eunuchs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that didn't happen here,
No.
evidently.
Because Potiphar trusted Joseph with everything
Yeah.
except his food.
yeah, I noticed
So
that.
maybe he was overweight. We
Can-
don't know.
can we bet, what's a eunuch?
Well, like
It's a castrated
that's
man.
very
It's like a
interesting.
gelding.
Really?
Yeah,
That way they didn't have to worry.
yeah.
That they considered Daniel and his buddies were probably eunuchs.
Really?
Because
Wow.
they can be allowed to do work in the harems and with the women.
The house.
They
Right,
didn't have to worry about them.
right.
Right.
And that's a eunuch.
A eunuch, yeah.
But could God have shown Joseph favor, not only because of Joseph's attitude toward God and his moral standings and that, but because he was the one that Jacob loved the most, so it was like blessing Jacob?
Yeah, it could be.
Or Israel.
Maybe Jacob loved him the most because God wanted him.
But it was his plan to get the family down to Egypt. That was the
Right.
whole thing.
All part of God's plan. We just don't see any proof where Joseph worships God.
Yeah,
It just,
he's there.
God is blessing Joseph, and he doesn't want to sleep with Potiphar's wife because of one reason.
Good Christian
He
boy.
trusted God, and
It's a sin against God.
Right.
The first time he mentions God. So this gives us an indication he knows who God is.
didn't seem like he became proud and arrogant with all of his success. Look
Not
at me.
here. Not
I
here.
think, yeah, he didn't.
So he maybe the time of being a slave, maybe that journey humbled him, because it would have been a long journey. He's just a piece of property, so he was probably walking behind everybody else.
And he needed that lesson.
He needed that lesson. He certainly did. Because right here, we don't see, like Gary says, we don't see him here as a proud and arrogant person.
He
He's
seems
just-
grateful for the trust.
He's doing his job.
He's humble.
Yeah.
He's doing his job.
Really lucked out being bought by Potiphar.
Yeah.
instead of-
Yep.
There we go with that one word again.
Okay, no luck. By the grace of God, Potiphar bought him because it was part of God's plan. And once again, Joseph is going to have to go through some trials.
Well, and it says in here that the Egyptian does realize that Joseph is being blessed, and by him being blessed, he's also reaping some of the blessings.
Right.
So
Kinda like
this
Laban.
Egyptian is pretty
Yeah.
Oh,
smart.
yeah, sure.
Just
Yeah.
like Laban was.
Yeah, yep,
He sees it. He says, "Okay, I'm not stupid.
yep,
I'm
Okay.
going to use this kid."
yep, take care of this kid.
Right on his shirt tail.
Yep. And so here we see that Joseph was well built and handsome, just like Donny Osmond.
No, sweetie. No, that was cat food. That's right.
Potiphar was not a Christian. I mean,
No.
But yet it says here, no, where did I just see it? His master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord caused all that he did to prosper in his hands.
Yeah. And
So
He
he
was
must
pretty
have,
smart,
well, but the Egyptians worshipped a ton of gods.
right.
yeah.
And one of the reasons they did that is they wanted to cover all their bases. So this is just another one of the cases where, okay, Joseph's God is blessing him.
Okay, so
I'm gonna
it
make sure I
wasn't-
get some of
all right,
that.
let's
Get him on it.
Yep.
The rain god they worshiped was the sun god,
Yep. Can't remember the name.
Ra.
Ra. There you go. So yeah, they just had a ton of gods. Just use whoever I can. So it's a sin against God. So finally, Joseph realizes what's going on. Maybe, kind of, sort of. What else do we see here?
She.
Persistent. Wife.
Yeah, she wasn't taking no for an answer.
Nope.
And this happened day after day after day after day.
Yep, she's not giving up.
She was the bad girl in the Bible. That was.
Yeah.
She was.
She was.
Potiphar's nowhere to be
Or
found.
was she a really bad girl? I don't remember.
Yeah.
She was a really bad girl.
I
Yeah,
probably
that- that-
really,
she was-
really,
she was in
really,
that one.
really bad.
Really,
girl.
really, really.
Yeah,
It doesn't give a name, it's just Potiphar's wife.
yeah.
You suppose Potiphar realized his wife was loose?
You know, that's part of the problem I have with this, is that he trusted Joseph with everything, yet he believed his wife.
Yeah,
Love is blind.
Well, that was that's pride too, though.
Yeah, could be pride,
Mm-hmm.
could be
Part of the
pride.
God plan.
Yeah,
What?
It's part of the God plan.
Oh, the
Absolutely, 'cause
plan, the
Joseph
big
had-
Well, yeah, that's
Joseph
right,
had
but
to
that's
go to
not,
prison.
but, yeah.
God, part of the God plan.
Oh,
That's
gracious.
something interesting here. Just to go back a little bit, the brother of Perez, his name meant scarlet or brightness. I was thinking about the red Esau thing,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
he was
and-
covered with red hair.
A red fuzzy baby.
Yeah, only didn't say he's fuzzy, but he was red.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't red. They named him that because he had the scarlet.
Thread.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
that ended up not mattering.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
And he was so born, he came out
But that's
second.
why he got the name.
That's why he has that name.
And one of the commentaries said another reason why Potiphar might have thrown Joseph into prison is because he felt guilty. Because in verse 19, his wife says, "How your slave treated me." So she's kind of pushing the blame off on him.
But
You
Yeah.
brought this guy into the house.
But Potiphar put Joseph in the house of the captain of the guard. Certainly not the worst prison available. That's what my footnote says.
So could
So,
it be that he knew what his wife was up to and he was angry because there was a situation and he had to do something about it now? So he removed Joseph from the situation and put him in.
If he were an
That's the case.
executioner,
That's
something
okay.
like this should have been punishable by death.
Yeah?
right,
Yeah.
but it was the house of the captain of the guard. So
so
he
maybe-
wasn't in the most deepest, darkest.
And where does it say that, hon?
In my
I thought
footnotes
Potiphar was the
about
captain.
39 through 20, for 20, the prison, it says the house of the captain of the guard, in my footnotes.
It says certainly not the worst prison available,
Right,
so
so she has the,
he
Wasn't
even,
that Potiphar?
he still
Captain of the guard?
had enough regard for Joseph that he
no,
wasn't going to destroy
Potiphar
him.
was just one of Pharaoh's officials. Oh, the
That's what-
captain of the
yeah,
guard.
It is, he's the
You're
the
right,
captain,
so
yeah.
the house of the captain of the guard. So he was under house
says
arrest somewhere?
No,
'cause
but that was just his job. You
Yeah.
know, that's why he was able to not,
So he
Put him
still
in there.
had him, but,
No, I don't see that, because in verse 20 it says, Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined.
and he could do that because he was the captain of the guard.
Yeah. And he was there
But it was still
in the
prison.
prison.
but it
Yeah,
says
right.
house of the captain of the guard.
No, that's who he served.
No,
But yeah, that's not talking about the prison.
no, Potiphar put Joseph in the house of the captain of the guard. Certainly
That's a
not the
footnote.
worst prison available.
But that's a footnote, so
Huh.
that's somebody's rendition of what
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
think it
But
was.
it says
think that's
not the
right.
worst prison, so it was still a prison.
Yeah, place where the king's prisoners were confined. It
Tom,
says-
would you have been able to defend him?
Good challenge.
So even the prisons had
She had
class
proof, she had
distinction.
proof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he wasn't in the worst prison,
Right.
according to our footnotes in the NIV.
Why didn't he stop and think to take his garment with him?
I think he got
He just
scared.
wanted, he was
Just wanted to
scared.
get away.
He just wanted to get away.
Yeah.
If she was on him every day, maybe he finally had to feel, I gotta get out of here.
Well, and how do you
Yeah.
tell your
Otherwise,
boss that your
so-
boss's wife is after you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you
Yeah.
can't.
No,
Yeah.
You can't.
right.
So she had a
Yeah, that
plan.
is-
She is with that robe.
Everybody was
to
gone
prove
from the
that
house.
He was in there.
Right.
Right.
She
There
set
were-
up.
There were no other witnesses except her in the house, and she had the proof. She had his robe.
Right.
Yep.
She set him up.
She set him up big time. She knew exactly what she was
Because she
doing.
probably sent away all of her other servants, so
Uh-huh.
he could be alone.
Couldn't
Uh-huh.
get even. He
Yep.
didn't do right by me.
And once again, as we wrap up chapter 39, the Lord was with him.
Yeah, the warden he helped the warden out.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he's got this great position in prison now.
He was thrown into prison because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did.
Even the prisoner.
Because the
He
Lord
didn't
was
have to worry
Joseph.
about getting shanked.
Yeah. Amen. Amen.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
too good. Okay, so 40?
Right, Goldie, you
Yes.
asked about the daughters.
Yeah.
Or the wives.
The wives, yeah.
And
Wives of-
I ran across something. Genesis is simply
Just
unclear
40.
about exactly